Alright, fellow YouTubers and loyal subscribers, here are my two vintage runners for the upcoming Enduro. I've got the dry weather car and the wet weather car. This is not a Cat XLS, or was, but it's been converted to a Cat XL, so T402 two-wheel drive, inspired by Ian Groom. So it was an absolute flop at the 1987 Worlds, but in theory on the high grip St Ives carpet, it's mid-motor, it's got a ton of steering lock, it should be an absolute weapon, even has a front sway bar as standard, and the crash back front end. I've got the rubbers off, so taking a bit risky, no rubbers, but this is just for a demonstration. You can see how it absorbs an impact. I'm actually running a rubber and a castration band on the front for a bit of extra stiffness in the front end. I've got purple springs on the front, the Mazoom / Philippe Martin pistons in there. For the rear shocks, I've upgraded to the Very shocks off the Cougar 2 works. They're just a bit more consistent. Quite soft springs, but it's relatively heavily damped. I think I've got 3 hole pistons and 30 weight oil. It features my standard Tiger livery. I like this one a bit better because, thanks to Scott Magic Johnson Lang, I painted the center red, bit of an orange fade, and more of a yellow down the outside, whereas this is more of a uniform orange. So I think this one's got a bit more detail in it. Despite what the Tekin label says, I'm not running a Tekin in this. I'm actually running a LRP stock spec. Now, it's an interesting ESC. My friend Sean Davids speaks highly of these. The one thing I do like about these is they've got, besides being able to run brushed and brushless, they've got different program modes. So they've got power profiles. So for brush stock motors, I think they don't disclose what the electronic wizardry behind them, but I think the genius of the German Jürgen Lautenbach, who will be in Sydney for the 2025 Worlds, he's got different frequencies and other things that they do in the power profiles to get the most out of a brush stock motor. Running a slipper clutch, I'm running the Pro transmission from the Cougar re-release in this, which fits beautifully into the two-wheel drive Cat XL transmission, so they use the same pulley spacing, which gives me the benefit of a slipper clutch. It's got the coarse pitch belt in here, which on the high grip carpet works well. I've got in the diff, I've got the JC Racing pulley flanges that I asked them to make, and they made. They help keep the belt on. I've got a turbofan blowing directly into the motor hole. You can't see it through there, but it's very powerful. Actually, you can see I've got it sticking out the body, so it's got a fresh air scoop. Nice cold air gets in there for my 540 racer. Got the Tamiya torque tuned Spectrum servo in there. An awful transponder mount. I haven't done the double tower mount on the front. I would have liked to have done that, because the beauty of that is it stands the shock more upright, which they're a bit, the suspension doesn't have a lot of lift off jumps, but I have dealt with that by moving the hole in one further in, so I've had to run stiffer springs. Two-wheel drive front tires, no drive shaft. If we go to the rear now, I've got the carbon tower upgrade in there. I've got the re-release roller drive shafts. Now, as others have said, you've got to be careful to get the non-Cougar Works ones when running it in the non-Cougar 2 works rear end. It's got ProCat style rear arms, Cougar 2 team style rear hubs. I've got the high grip carpet tires on it. I think this is a Boss Cat rear hanger. It seems to work beautifully with the sway bar. And I actually shortened the shock shafts or the threads to really get as much up travel on that as I possibly can, because I find at St Ives you have it low, it's still bumpy, you want the rear end being able to travel up and absorb the bumps. And I know some guys in our team have complained about the Ad 70C because that thing does not have much travel. So moving on to the Cougar 2. So this was a Cougar 2 team, not the re-release. I did race it at St Ives back in the early 90s. It's got MSP front arms. I got those before the Cougar 2 Works came out. I'm running these really ugly Coke bottle bottoms as shock tower guards, and you can see how badly scuffed up they are. They actually do a really good job. They help protect the St Ives track. It's got a custom made by Paul gold weave carbon chassis made in Australia. Ball race steering the team had. So the team was the first car. Wiring's a bit of a mess because I've got the voltage telemetry plugged in, so that'll tell my transmitter what voltage I'm running. A repaired Tekin G9, ginormous cap on it. Yeah, and I've got two sets of shocks for this. I've got one set up for carpet for high grip and dry, which I've got in it now. They're a bit stiffer, and they may usually work, but I've got my wet soft dirt set up ready in place. So being my wet carpet car, I've got hole shots on the rear, and I've got these really grippy carpet tires on the front because I found it understeered last time I ran it in the wet. It's got the medium wheelbase rear arms on it, not the longer ones of the Cougar 2. That shifts the wheels forward, which does help with a bit of grip. Torque tuned in there. You can't see it in there, but I've got a mount that twists the motor around, gets the motor hole lined up nicely. I've dremeled in there so the fan can just shoot straight into the hole. This is running the original Cougar 2 team style transmission, so that are very similar to an RC10 style slipper clutch. That's it. Thanks, and I'm looking forward to racing these.